how to do half moon pose, or in Sanskrit, Ardha Chandrasana. Another hot yoga tutorial. Don't go anywhere. Hi everyone, if this is the first time we're meeting, my name is Jimmy Barkan. I've been practicing hot yoga since 1980. Been teaching since 1981. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell. Share it with your friends. Anybody you think may benefit from this hot yoga tutorial. Now, in the hot yoga world, we call this pose half moon or Ardha Chandrasana. Right, left, and back. Actually, the side, when we go to the right and to the left, that's Pars Ardha Chandrasana. My teacher would always say Pars Ardha Chandrasana, and then all of a sudden we just nicknamed it just Ardha Chandrasana. But the actual, and Ardha is half, by the way, Chandra moon, so Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. The real half moon is the back bend, which we exaggerate in the hot yoga world. Now, in other styles of yoga, they call this pose half moon or Ardha Chandrasana. And that's a good point to make because not all styles of yoga have the same names of postures, same concepts of alignment. It changes. So don't think there's one universal group or style of yoga. There's all these different types because the science has been around for way too long for anybody to claim that they're traditional. So today I will be assisted by one of our Fort Lauderdale studio Barkan teachers, Wendy, and we're going to go into the beginning to advanced, all the necessary techniques that you need to get successful in this pose. So let's head over to the studio, dive right in. So now here we are with half moon pose, and like I said in the intro, this is Pars Ardha Chandrasana, which is the direct or exact translation. So Wendy stands together, feet touching, toes and heels touching, inner thighs in, tailbone turns under, arms overhead, interlace fingers. Now I'm going to have Wendy relax her arms for a second. I'm going to show you the three grips. The interlace finger, index finger grip is what most people use. In the old days, all the way up to about 1983, 84, we did flat hands. When we bring arms overhead, it was flat hands. Somewhere in the mid-80s, Bikram went away somewhere, came back, and he gave us this grip, and thank the Lord, because it's so much easier to use this grip because you have a lot more control and you have a lot more leverage. Now there's a third grip. Buddha Bose, who was one of Vishnu Ghosh's #1 students, wrote a book called Key to the Kingdom of Health. And I looked in that book and I saw this, we call this grip the Calcutta grip in my teacher training programs. If you're interested in the teacher training programs, by the way, look at the description below. There's a whole bunch of links for you. But this grip we call now the Calcutta grip. You hold your left wrist with your right hand, palm facing the front when you go to the right. When you go to the left, you come up and you change grip. You change your grip, grab your right wrist, and go to the left. So we're going to go over those three grips now together. So now I'm going to have Wendy do the interlaced finger, index finger release grip, because that's the most common grip. And we're going to look at the side first, or Pars Ardha Chandrasana. So arms overhead, interlaced fingers. We're going to tick-tock left and right, back and forth. Even if you're using the Calcutta grip, you'd want to use this grip in the tick-tock, so you're lifting up and out of the waist. And you're going to stop in the middle. Now look how her head is right between her arms. That's where we want it to be. So I'm going to have Wendy go to the left side because you can see it a little better. She's going to stretch up, and now she's going to hold the symmetry of her head between her shoulders. See how that doesn't move? Because here's the biggest mistake people make. You think it's how far down you can go, and this shoulder starts to come forward, and they're starting to push themselves down. But look how she's completely out of her symmetry. She's got to get back to here in that position. Now let's talk about the opposite directions, and there are three really important ones I want you to see. I'm going to have Wendy move over to the middle a little bit more. Once again, we'll use the interlaced finger grip. So she's going to bring her arms overhead, index finger released. She's going to lift up and over to the right. So as she reaches her arms to the right, her hips are pushing out to the left. She doesn't just want to move her arms right. Her hips are going left. That's the first opposite direction. The chest comes out as the arms come back. That's the second opposite direction. And then from the left hip to the left heel, and from the left hip up the side body, this opposite direction is taking place. So she's pushing down on her heel and reaching over to the right. And that's the third opposite direction. Now I'm going to show you the 3 different grips and what you should be thinking of, whatever grip you're going to be using. So with the palm flat grip, arms overhead, let's have her go to the left side. As she reaches, and the thumbs are crossed, she reaches to the left side, and her hips are going to the right side. She wants to get the base of the palms together. And it's the same thing with the interlace finger grip. Interlace your fingers for a second, Wendy. Base of the palms together is going to get you more into the shoulders. Okay, come on. Now I want to assure you the other grip will go to the other side, so we're going to have Wendy grab her left wrist with the right hand. Now when she goes to the right side, what she wants to do, because sometimes these elbows tend to bend, you're going to push up into that left wrist and straighten those arms. And that's going to, again, get you into that left front side of your body. Let's talk about the shoulders for a second. Because other styles of yoga, they don't like you to straighten your arms. They want you to drop your shoulders down, but still keep your arms straight. It really depends on the range of motion of your shoulder, or more specifically, the acromion process. So if you have the range of motion like Wendy, where you can straighten up, then by all means, go ahead and do that, because she has that range of motion. It's not going to do anything bad to the shoulder. As she goes over to the right, she gets more of an extension of this side of her body. It's, again, not how far down you can go. It's about how you can lift up and over and get that full side body extension. Now I'm going to want you to see the side angle. So I'm going to switch places with Wendy. She's going to come over here. She's going to bring her arms overhead, interlace fingers, palms together. She's going to lift up and over to the left. And you can see from this line, some people say try to position yourself between 2 panes of glass, but there's a slight back bend that's happening because your chest, remember, your chest is coming out and your arms are coming back. So you have a little bit of a back bend. It's not a direct lateral stretch. And maybe bring your right shoulder back, because that's one of the big corrections, so you can always watch that. Just assume your right shoulder is forward. Bring it back a little bit, and that's a great side angle. Now we're going to look at the half moon back bend. Remember, this is the real half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. I'm going to have Wendy turn this direction. First, let's look at the modification. If you have a neck issue, arms overhead, we're going to use the interlaced finger grip for this. And you're not going to relax your neck. You're going to keep the ears and the arms and the biceps glued together the whole time. First move she's going to do is scoop the tailbone, lift the chest, and as she reaches back, look at her head doesn't move. And now she actually is going to get her stretch coming more into the middle back as she does this. Now, if you don't need the modification, your neck's in good shape. Now what Wendy's going to do is relax her neck, let the head slowly drop back. Scoop that tailbone, inner thighs in. You're going to hold that foundation the whole time. She's going to lift up and back slowly as she puts her hips forward. So her hips forward and reaching back behind her. Now here's a really cool tip. Give yourself a tangible goal. Trace a line down the ceiling or the wall. So if I have Wendy just touch my hand, look how much lower she went just with that goal. Now I'm going to have Wendy come up. And as you get more advanced, you can push your hips forward, but not too far forward. Here's the rule of thumb. Don't push your hips past your knees. That's how you're going to protect the sacrum and the lower back. So, first move, scoop the tailbone. Second move, chest to the ceiling. The head drops, and now as Wendy reaches back, she gives herself that tangible goal. And look at her hips. They're not going to go past her knees. As she continues to reach all the way back, as far as she can, and now come back up in control. And that obviously is definitely the more advanced position. And you work your way back to that final pose. And that is half moon pose. So that is half moon pose or Ardha Chandrasana. All 3 parts. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, and ask me any questions. I get to all of the comments. So ask me any questions, especially if you're struggling with something in this pose. Share it with your friends, and I will see you the next video.